is the legendary Peugeot 205 GTi, one of the most iconic hot hatches of all time. People have always loved this thing because it's so much fun to drive. And if you can find one that hasn't rusted away or been thrown backwards through a hedge, you can have one for about £3.5 grand. The thing is, the 205 GTi has been both a blessing and a curse for Peugeot, and that's because legends are a pretty tough act to follow. To be honest, the hot versions of the 206 and 207 never even came close. But this is the new 208 GTi, and it's got the 17-inch alloys, the red brake calipers, and the chromed up twin pipes to prove it. But to find out whether this car can deliver a driving experience worthy of the hallowed GTi badge, we're going to be driving from here in a wet and windy Deganwy in North Wales to a little town south called Portmeirion. Now, as the crow flies, it's probably only about 30 or 40 miles away. But since we've got one of the most eagerly anticipated hot hatches in recent years, and we've got some of the best driving roads in Britain on our doorstep, we're going to be taking the long way round. First thing we need to talk about is the engine, and it's a turbocharged 1.6 litre petrol with 197 brake horsepower. Now, it needs a few revs to get it going, but once you give it what it wants, it really does go. The steering's pretty good as well, because it's nice and quick to react, and it's actually really nicely weighted as well. And because the suspension keeps body roll so well under control, the nose of the car feels really eager to tuck into bends. It really is quite a lot of fun. The downside of that is that the ride is a little bit firm over the bumps, but if you're a hot hatch fan, you're not going to worry about that. So we're just rolling into Portmeirion, which is an amazing little place that was built over 50 years by a chap called Clough Williams Ellis. He was an architect who wanted to bring a splash of Italian Mediterranean flavour to the North Wales coast. And it looks to me like the bloke's done a pretty good job. You might actually recognise the place because it was where cult 60s TV show The Prisoner was filmed. This was the setting for the weird holiday camp-like village that Number 6, played by Patrick McGowan, was constantly trying to escape from. Unfortunately, every time he tried, he always got nobbled by this weird, sinister-looking balloon thing that the evil Number 2 sent to capture him. Gotta love those psychedelic 60s. Those who remember the show will also remember its most famous line: "I am not a number, I am a free man." And I think the 208 GTi can relate to that, because this thing is more than just a number. This is finally worth those 3 little letters as well. So, we've established that the GTi is good, but if it's going to be great, it needs to beat the rest of the hot hatches out there.
And that's where this bad boy comes in. It's the new Fiesta ST. Now, I've been driving this all day and it really is a lot of fun, and the Peugeot really has its work cut out.
So what we're going to do, we're going to take them out back to back and really see how this stacks up. Well, I'll tell you what, Nigel wasn't wrong about this car. It's quite something. It might be a little bit slower on paper, but you don't feel it on the road. And because the torque comes in so much lower down the rev range, it actually feels a lot more eager to pick up and go, which is kind of what you want from a hot hatch. When you get to a set of bends, this thing feels every bit as grippy and every bit as stable as the Peugeot 2, but the steering is actually a little bit better. It's just as quick, but the weighting's a little bit nicer. And because there's a little bit more feel through the wheel, you can tell how the front wheels are doing for grip and traction. It's properly good. So that was a pretty intense drive, and it's make your mind up time. What do you think?
Well, I think without question both cars are a lot of fun, but for me the 208 GTi, it's the closest that Peugeot has come to recapturing some of that magic of the 205 GTi.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
The interior is better quality than the Ford's, and it is a lot of fun. But the Ford's just that bit more fun. And there's also the small fact, it's £2,000 cheaper.
You just can't argue with that.
No, I don't think you can. So we've had an awesome day on some epic roads in North Wales, but the car we both want to drive home in is the Ford Fiesta ST.